Welcome in, everybody. Let's dive right into it. All right, we have had easily one of my favorite movies of all time drop recently. Deadpool and Wolverine. And man, when I say this movie epitomized what Deadpool is supposed to be, what comic book movies are supposed to be, what a general comic book story is supposed to be, it's this damn movie. There was not a single boring moment, especially because we had tons of amazing cameos that brought back all of the actors from Marvel movies past, back before Disney bought both Fox and Marvel. I mean, there were even cameos made by characters we had not even thought of having before, like Channing Tatum's Gambit, who was just about as perfect as Gambit could be, in my opinion. He had the classic look, and he sounded the part, especially if your vision of Gambit is the Gambit that we got in the 90s cartoon series, like mine, because that's what I grew up with. That's how I knew Gambit growing up, was from that show. But I mean, also bringing in Wesley Snipes' Blade, Jennifer Garner's Elektra, Chris Evans' Johnny Storm, even Ray Park's Toad, and Aaron Stanford as Pyro from the OG X-Men movies. All of these cameos were fantastic. But like I said, from the jump, who wasn't just dancing along in their seats along with Deadpool to the to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye? I mean, the full song, by the way, it wasn't just a clipping or a minute. No. We got a full-on music video spliced between the opening credits and Deadpool killing a bunch of TVA agents with the bones of Old Man Logan. I could watch that opening sequence just by itself and be happy. It's just so damn good, just so damn entertaining. This is what Marvel fans have been needing for the longest time. And I think there are a lot of moving parts to this film that earned it the spot it's currently holding as one of the biggest box office earners in its opening weekend. Certainly the biggest earner of the whole past two Marvel phases, Phase 4 and 5. I think this is probably, at least by that metric, the most successful Marvel project of the past 3 or 4 years. And it's easy to understand how that is. It becomes painfully clear whenever you look at everything else Marvel has churned out. When you talk successes, well, we have WandaVision, Loki, Multiverse of Madness, Spider-Man No Way Home, and that's kind of it, right? I mean, everything else that I can think of really just fell off. I can't remember off the top of my head a lot of these other projects. Some of them I actually had to look them up, but the worst ones, I mean, Secret Invasion, The Marvels, She-Hulk, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Miss Marvel, all of these they're pretty bad for their own reasons. Now, do they have their fans? Do they have their defenders? Though most of these people that fit these audiences often either can't remember anything prevalent about these projects, or they can't give a good reason why they're good. So the people who are these projects' audiences, they're just looking to turn off their brains and enjoy some dumb comic fun. I get that. That's fine. That's perfectly understandable. I mean, this isn't Star Wars, where the movies and shows that we have are just now starting to become more numerous, and we don't have as much content to enjoy in the Star Wars universe. But Marvel is a colossal giant. I mean, if you don't like the past 5, 6, 7 movies or shows, that's fine. You have everything in phases 1 through 4 to enjoy if you like. And there's over a dozen projects at around 120 hours of content to go back and binge and relive the glory days. So, if you want quality, it's still there in quantity enough to satisfy the masses. And thankfully, Deadpool and Wolverine brings those glory days back. Now, a lot of detractors might say, well, that's just the nostalgia factor. That's all this movie has to stand on. Yeah, people love seeing Wesley Snipes' Blade and Ray Park as Toad. What's your point? But we've also got quite a lot that is new to Marvel movies in general, and we have it in abundance. It's a lot more. Deadpool Wolverine is a lot more bloody and gory, and oh boy, we got plenty of cussing. All right, Captain America is just rolling in his grave, saying language. Now the first, the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie does take credit for Marvel's first F-bomb. But Deadpool and Wolverine? Reuters Counter just did a kind of a census of how many F-bombs were used in Deadpool Wolverine. It was over 100 times. And that's not saying anything for all of the other cuss words that were used in really dirty jokes and everything. Like, it's a lot, dude. And the blood and gore, oh my god, it was beautiful. Because it's done well, it's done fast, it's done with a lot of detail. Especially when you've got Cassandra Nova ripping the skin right off of Human Torch, just leaving his bones, blood, and organs to fall to the ground in a big puddle. Oh my god, that was so cool. And all of these great things about this movie kind of brings me to a glaring point currently being made about the MCU in general. I think Kevin Feige and his team have realized that what they have been putting out is not drawing in Marvel audiences. Nobody liked She-Hulk. No one liked the Marvels. But why? Did the studio really skew so far from what drew in their key demographic? Well, in short, yes. Because what is the general audience that props up the comic book and the graphic novel movie industry, as well as the comic book industry in general, to say nothing of the film aspect of it? But who are all of these things' main demographic? It's male nerds, guys. It's I'm sorry to be the one to have to tell you this, but your main demo, Marvel Studios, is dudes. And with that demographic, there are a good amount of subcategories as well. But it's a huge demographic to play up to. Now, okay, this has a small bit to play in it, but that bit adds up. I am a male nerd, if you couldn't tell by now. When I went to see Deadpool and Wolverine, I brought my friends who might not have gone to see it on their own, because they're also the kind of people that tend to say, I'll see it in 6 months when it's streaming online. I don't gotta do that. So on top of Marvel's key demographic, you also have the people that we, the male nerds, bring with us to see the films to get them into what we're all excited about, what we nerd out about. So what made this course correct necessary? What do we think that Kevin Feige and his team saw in their previous phases and all their previous films that made them say, okay, we have to do something pretty drastic. We have to make this Deadpool Wolverine movie play up to our key demo so much that we earn back their interest, their respect, their enthrallment. What caused this to happen? I mean, Marvel was losing our attention. It's plain and simple. In an age where we have so many other franchises that we could flit to for entertainment, I mean, it's a competitive market. And the heads at Marvel Studios have a duty to put butts in seats. That is their job. So they played us nerd men up really good, giving us all the tiddly bits that they knew that we would want to enjoy. Guns, gore, built-up fights and explosions, hot chicks, a heavy nostalgia factor, tons of guy-centric humor. And all of these things were keyed to a way higher degree than any other Marvel movie. And it worked. It worked phenomenally. The profit that was raked in was enormous by any standard. So, hopefully, the success of this movie highlights to Marvel Studios exactly the direction that they need to be headed in. Now, does that mean that Falcon and Spider-Man need to start making jokes about pegging and being molested by suit tailors? Of course not. But it does mean that these heroes need to have stories and developments written to play up to their audience. To have a greater amount of faith and trust that we are here to stay as long as we keep getting the quality content that was in this film. Now, a lot of folks will try to say things like, well, these comparisons you're making, what does that mean? You don't like movies and shows about women characters? Do you not want strong female leads? Do you hate women? And these people, the ones trying to cover up for shitty writing and lackluster acting performances, do not listen to these people. Do not even engage with them. They do not deserve your attention. WandaVision was amazing. And I'm fairly certain 99% of everyone loved it. We can have shows centered around strong female characters. Of course we can. I mean, look at the hype that's currently around the upcoming Agatha show, Agatha All Along. It looks great. But when we get garbage like Echo and She-Hulk and the Marvels, just stop. Stop all of the disingenuous nonsense. I mean, you took a great character like Monica Rambeau and dared to make her a part of a burn pile that is one of the worst Marvel movies ever. Yeah, don't listen to all those idiots out there. Focus on quality acting, story, great CGI and practical effect work. That's all we want. And it's all we need. Deadpool and Wolverine has it in spades. So yeah, I think this kind of course correct will be impossible for the next up at bat, like Captain America Brave New World. But hopefully the studio can implement major change for all of the final Phase 5 projects that lead us into what will, I'm praying it will be, a even more fantastic Phase 6, where I really hope we get to see more Deadpool. But that is all the time I had for today, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Stick around for more Sci-Fi Unchained. But for now, live long and prosper, my friends, and may the Force be with us all.